Okay, so we've got our frames made there on the jig. Starting to look boat-ish around here. But to get the stem and the breast hook onto the jig, we need to make the keel. I've been avoiding this. I'm not avoiding it, but it's not gonna go 100%. So the issue that I'm facing is that my jointer is only 6 inches and I need the finished dimensions to be 6 inches. And it's just not gonna happen. I think I've got 6 1/16 there, so we'll push it. I think when I'm done jointing the edges and getting it trimmed down so it's perfectly square, we're gonna be at like 5 7/8, 5 13/16. I don't think that's gonna make or break the strength of the boat. It is what it is. It's just gonna have to be the way it is. It is what it is. Okay, so I get to wrestle this big heavy bastard through the table saw. Then we get to do it through the jointer. Then back through the table saw. Then I gotta make a jig so that I can evenly make a scarf joint. I'm using such big lumber because the finished thickness needs to be 1.5 inches, 6/4. When you buy 6/4, it actually comes to you at 1 7/16 inches. So you're looking at maximum 1 3/8, probably closer to 1 1/4 by the time you get it flat and planed. So this is 8/4, 2 inches. But it's actually sitting here at 1 inch and like 15/16. So when you get that big, this is how wide they come. All in mahogany anyway from the supplier that I had. So yeah, we get to just wrestle this big bastard around. Okay, well, I mean, essentially uneventful. What do I got here? I should have enough here now that I can do parts of my in-whales and my chine logs, I'm hoping. Okay, let's get rigged up and do that with the jointer now. Well, that was stupid. I just set my rollers up the wrong height. I reckon there's a 20% chance this works. It's quite a bit lighter. there at least. That's good. It's a little more manageable. The thing is, it's about a $200 board, maybe even more. So I'd really like to just get it right out of the gate, you know? Nothing's in our way. Fuck it, let's go. I got some of it out, but what I'm gonna have to do is use this as an outfeed table and then have my 3 rollers. I think it's just doing this because it's so fucking long. Okay, I'll be back after I get that set up. Okay, I think we're up to a 50% chance of this working now. Okay, she's gonna get a couple passes here, and yeah, I think we're on the right track, getting there. Okay, so I'm never getting that to work. I knew it was a long shot, but after thinking about it a little bit, there's gonna be a scarf joint in it anyway. So, I mean, I'm not worried about it. What we're gonna do is do 2 8-footers, well, 8.5 footers. That's gonna get us our 16 feet. And then it'll be a little bit more manageable. So let's get this chopped up and see if we can't get some success with this. Really is going to be one of the hardest pieces, and not because it's technical by any means, it's just the size of it. Just the sheer freaking size of this thing. You can't just plop it on the saw and go. Everything is gotta be. What the fuck? I bet you this weighs 8,500 pounds. Okay. Over 17 feet long. Let me just make sure one more time on these plans that I'm not missing nothing. see what I want. Yeah, this is gonna be better. I can tell there's a little. Just that one funny spot, eh? Good there, funny there. I wonder why that is. Okay, let's take one more pass. This is our funny spot. We're fucking deadly there. We're deadly there. Okay, we'll get rid of the pencil mark. Oh boy. Oh. Little chatter in there, but I think with the pass of I think with the, yeah, fuck. Okay, I like that. The more I think about it too, I'm almost certain that that middle, that second frame, is in the dead center of the boat, and then I can adjust. Now I can put this scarf joint that I'm going to make in the dead center of the boat, so it'll actually be fastened mechanically and with epoxy, both beams, both pieces, and to the frame. Whereas the other way, I was going to put that scarf joint closer towards the bow, and I wouldn't have had that scarf at a frame, and it would have just been mechanically or epoxied, thickened epoxied. So I think this might be stronger actually. I think I've talked myself into believing that this is stronger. I'm doing it this way for a reason. Fuck it. Let's go. I got her, Otter. Bang! Oh, bud. Buddy. Straight as a rooster's dick.
What did he say?
We have our stem pieces made. That was a little bit of a battle. We probably should have taken this to found a cabinet shop or something in Kelowna with the equipment that could handle it, but we made do. They are flat, they're straight, there's no twist in them. Now we got to join them together in a scarf joint, and the ratio that they require is 12:1 on your thickness. So this is 1.5 inches thick, so my scarf joint needs to be 18 inches long. I've been hemming and hawing on how I want to do this. What would be really nice is if they were not so thick, I could just make a jig and the table saw, but because they're 6 inches thick, I was thinking about maybe just using my little battery powered plane, but it's such an integral piece to the boat. I want to make sure that this joint's perfect. So I'm gonna build a sled that it actually works out to 5 degrees is that angle. So I'm gonna build a sled with a ramp on it and use a flattening. You'll see. I'm not gonna show you me making a jig. You guys are probably sick of watching me build sticks. By the next video, we should actually be putting this boat together. All these frames will get fastened to this keel. I think I called it a stem earlier. This is the keel. And the actual stem and breast hook will get attached to this, and our boat will be set to length. Then the transom. Anyway, I'll see you when the jig's done, and we'll show you what that looks like. I said I wasn't going to film this jig here, but I figured I'd show you this. It's a pretty handy little trick. So if you've got, what we're trying to do is get our 5 degree cut on here. And the shadows with this GoPro from this side of the, anyway, we're trying to get our 5 degree cut on here. And we want that as straight as possible, but we don't have a track saw. So all we have to do is get a piece of material that's wider than what we're cutting. And we're gonna fasten it at said angle. Now, make sure you can see I got 2 lines there. That's where, this is where the saw blade's gonna ride. So this is the part I'm keeping. And if I were to line this edge up with that, I'd be short a saw blade. And this, it's actually not gonna quite matter because I'm more concerned about the angle than I am the actual like length and whatever. But if this was a piece of trim or something that you were scribing for filler strip on a cabinet or something, keep that in mind. So I'm gonna get this fastened and then I'll show you what that looks like in the next step. So it's fastened. So it's fastened here. I just screwed it. If this was material that you wanted to use your offcut for something, or you didn't want to wreck this material, you could do double-sided tape and some CA glue. You can pin it with the pinner. You just don't want it moving. It doesn't have to be double-sided tape. So let's take it over to the saw, and then I'll show you how we simply just cut this up, and it's perfect every time. Every time. So this now is what that looks like when you get it over to your table saw. We want to make sure that the blade is the right height so it cuts through all of our material. And then we set the fence. I'm trying to do this with one hand and hold everything. We set the fence to this MDF material. We set the fence to this MDF material here. Now, a little tip, if you rip this piece down and then fasten this, your saw is already set perfect. You don't have to piss around with it. But yeah, it's basically a quick little makeshift like sled for your table saw, but you can do this. It's handy in the field. I'm not really set up to be a cabinet shop, so yeah, that's my little bush fix for cutting angled boards that have the same, in this case it's 5 degrees from tip to tail. And now we have our identical 5-degree pieces. Now, I made this so big because I wanted it to be able to fit a full sheet of plywood. So now what we do is, I'll get the GoPro for this so you can have a better angle. What we do is we slide our material in here. We set the height of this to just below this, and it's gonna and we just go all the way down, and that'll give us our scarf. Simple, simple. So let's get it fastened and go for a rip, bud. And the jig is made. Pretty simple. Little 5-degree ramps here. Little tray for the rotor to slide. We've got a little like slab flattening bit on there. I just made these little guys. I just put a channel. I'll show you a little close up. So I just put a channel in, and then I can take these out every pass. And I've made these half the width of my blade, so that it's not so hard on this little router. I don't know how much I'm gonna need a router, so I just haven't went and got one, but maybe. Anyway, so then we just work our way down, and that'll give us a nice, true, it'll be same on both of them, so that when I go to do the actual scarf joint, it's, even if it's out, like say this is 5.5 or 4.5 or 6, 7 degrees, it's the same, doesn't matter. So there'll be enough meat there and enough epoxy that it'll be strong. It's getting a little late here, it's just 5 o'clock. So I want to get this done quick. We'll get a decent time lapse of that. And then, because there's going to be a lot of passes. I think there's going to be 20 some passes. So we'll get this done, get it in the clamps tonight is the goal. So tomorrow, and essentially the next video, we can be building a boat, like actually putting boat parts together and showing a boat instead of me just making fancy sticks in the garage. So yeah, let's see if it works. Oh, I should mention that these are parallel to the ramps, so that the scarf drain itself is square, if that makes sense. But anyway, I think that's everything. Okay, that was a little wild. Little bit of dust was made during that little episode. Where's my GoPro? Let me get a fresh battery in this thing. I get a little bit of that footage, but honestly, it was so dusty. It's not even going to be worth watching. So I got it routed. Gave it a little 30-second bop here with the orbital, but you can see it's pretty. Looks like there's chatter in it, but it feels really smooth. So it's got 80 grit, so it'll bond to the epoxy. And yeah, we're gonna get this place cleaned up. It's an absolute disaster in here. There's dust everywhere. My dust collection don't work so good on that. So we'll get this cleaned up and then figure out how we want to get it laid out so we can get it in some epoxy tonight so it's cured, so we got something to do tomorrow. I have not really thought about how I want to do that because I'm going to want to shut my garage door tonight. Maybe do it right up on there. That's probably best. I don't know. Stay tuned, we'll figure it out. So we're almost ready to glue this keel together. It took a second to figure out how I want to do this. So they're wedges, obviously. That's what we just made, big long wedges. So when I go to clamp these, they're going to want to do this. So to prevent that, I think my game plan is, whether it's going to work or not, is I've taken, I'll show you here, the frame is clamped to the jig. Once I get this glued up, I'm going to get it where I want it this way. I'm going to clamp a straight edge down one side of it so that we get it nice and straight, because I think we're close to 18 feet long at this point. Then once it's straight and the thickness I want, I'll clamp each end to the bolt frame, which are clamped to the jig. And when I clamp down, it shouldn't be able to do this. Shouldn't being the operative word. If I were to do this again, I would make this whole thing like 3/16 a quarter inch bigger, and I would run it through the planer after, and it would give me a little bit of grace. Because it's so long, I don't know if I love that idea, but I don't know. I bet you if I did this again, I would figure out. Yeah, I don't even know. This is probably the best way to do it. We'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna get some epoxy mixed up. Same as always. Wet it, clear. We'll take what's left, thicken it, slap it on with our little scrapey guy. Flip her over, clamp her up, and have a beer, bud. That's all she wrote. Okay, epoxy. Okay, we got some clear mixed up. You guys notice my sick new hat? I'm the captain now. Ooh, I might not mix enough of this. This got 80 grit before I'm putting this on here. And this is the last of the videos where I'm basically just making sticks. We're gonna be basically attaching stuff to this frame from here on out. We gotta get, well, the transom's gonna be a little bit more of kind of just looking how I figure it out. It's the same as the frame, but twice as thick around the outside. And then because we have that one modification where we're doing the outboard motor, that'll be a little bit of thinking there. Just changing the angle, so it's gonna change the overall length of the boat, like minimal, an inch or two maybe, I think, but nonetheless something we gotta figure out. And then yeah, once the transom's done, she's full steam ahead on the chine logs and the in wheels. I was pretty nervous about this scarf joint. I want this to be strong. It went better than I thought. It could have gone better, but it didn't go as bad as I thought it was gonna. If that makes any sense in a roundabout way. I guess what I'm trying to say is the next thing I'm nervous about is where my chine logs and my like everything just goes into that stem and that breast hook. That's where there's gonna be some thinking. I just got silica in my beard. That's 2 today I fucked up from piss. Okay, let's get some thick boy on here. Really hope this glue up goes good. What I am glad for though, this epoxy it's quite slow. I thought I had 20 minutes, half an hour when it's a swarm. Like it's still plus 25 here. And like I bet you I have 2 hours to deal with this right now. So if I have to call an audible or change the way I'm doing it, no big deal. Perfect amount of epoxy, really. I've got like a tablespoon left, and there's probably going to be a tablespoon of squeeze out. Now, the hard part really is getting this not fucked up. Okay, we're roughly in the middle there. Now I think, no, I gotta get it half-assed to the right height. This needs to do this. Yeah, somewhere in there. So it for sure has to come down a bit. It's gonna shrink a bit when I clamp it. Yeah, I would say somewhere in there. I like that. I do think it's gonna go. And I'm just making this up. I don't know if there's an easy way I'm missing here or what the hell's going on, but this is That's how we're doing it. Now I think if I clamp this right, I should be able to make micro adjustments up and down. And it's still just keep it straight here. I actually think I want a couple more clamps on that. Because where's my joint? From there to there. So a clamp here can't hurt. Oh, that light in the background, that's awesome. It broke when we were in the middle of doing this. So you guys get to do like fucking EDM party while we're doing this. That's awesome. Real professional. Okay. Now the question is, sir. Oh, it's so fucking close. I think we try and clamp it and see what happens. Let's start up here so that it slides down a shade. See, I'm getting like panicky, like this is gonna set up quick. I could take this whole thing apart right now and we could start over and it would be fine. It's fine. It could go a little more down. It needs to go a 16. So I think what I want to do here is just see if I can. Oh, no, never. So I'm going to take this off completely because it's easy. I'm going to take this off completely because it's easy. Perfect. I think I nailed it. Fuck, it's gotta go a long way. Okay, that thing is not going. No, that's for that. Okay, we're pretty happy there. I forgot to clamp it to the frames, but I'm dumb. If it's clamped to this, it's not going to stretch the level. So we'll double check that I'm not dumb twice over, but I'm pretty sure we're in the clear. Going right there. And do a little cleanup here while I can get in there. I'm gonna add one more set of clamps. My concern now that I'm looking at it is if I don't have those clamped right, I could get a twist in there, and the last thing we want is a twist in the middle of the boat. I'm happy, I think. I mean, it's as close as I can get it. I don't know what I could do better. So I'll explain what I was just saying a little more. What I'm worried about here now that I just like looking at it as I'm doing it. These boards were identical. Like they were within, I don't even know. Let's say they were within a 64th, if not tighter than that. Now, I put a layer of epoxy between them. If I got, again, let's say I've got that nice crisp 32nd of epoxy that I'm looking for on this side, but I've over clamped this side, and I've got half that, a 64th, and I've clamped those boards like that. I'm gonna have a twist in my hull, which I think with fairing and the plywood, and I think we can get it out. But if it's like anything else I've built, the better you can get it in the rough, in the early like frame part of it, the easier it's gonna be when I go to paint this and you see a twist and a shadow in my paint in my hull. Probably overthinking it, but next video is putting all this, attaching it all. So we're gonna actually start seeing some boat progress, like I say, instead of just building frickin' sticks all the time. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Maybe tell me how sick my hat looks in the comments. Look at that thing, bud. Captain. See you in the next one.